World Economic Forum founder and world's #1 Dr. Strangelove impersonator, Klaus Schwab, asked his fellow globalists a question during a recent summit about the stumbling blocks that are preventing their beneficent, all-loving Great Reset agenda from coming to fruition, which fact-checkers have graciously reassured us has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with a secret plan by powerful technocrats to make themselves more powerful. And what possible reason could we have to doubt their sincerity? But answering Schwab's question, this was the response from one of the panelists.
At Davos a few years ago, the Edelman survey showed us that the good news is the elite across the world trust each other more and more. So we can come together and design and do beautiful things together. The bad news is that in every single country they were polling, the majority of people trusted that elite less. So we can lead, but...
That's Neri Woods, Professor of Global Economic Governance at the University of Oxford. The comments were actually made at the World Economic Forum's Great Narrative Conference back in November, although the clip you just saw is going viral on Twitter right now.
The majority of people trusted that elite less.
Ordinary people not trusting the elite? Oh no, how dreadful! How could that possibly be? Could it have anything to do with the fact that the ultra-rich elite used the pandemic to enact the biggest wealth transfer in history, widening wealth inequality to levels never seen before, as they raked in vast profits while small businesses went bust? In the UK alone, lockdown pushed 900,000 people into poverty, while the rich got 54% richer. Could it have anything to do with elitists in countries across the world brazenly flouting the very same lockdown restrictions that they demanded be imposed on everyone else, creating a new servant class of mask-wearing mutes while they parted it up totally maskless? Could it have anything to do with the elite buying remote luxury properties, in some cases entire islands, to further distance themselves from the general public, while we were told we weren't allowed to leave our tiny houses and apartments? Could it have anything to do with the elite pressuring big tech to smear, silence and deplatform prominent people who questioned the corona narrative? Could it have anything to do with elitists laboriously lecturing us about our living standards, energy consumption and travel habits, after having arrived to do so on fleets of CO2 spewing private jets? Could it have anything to do with those who ask such questions being belittled, demonized and treated like trash? Also, referring to yourselves as the elite sounds pretty weird.
The elite.
Sounds like something a creepy aristocratic bad guy in an old Bond movie would say. And maybe, just maybe, that's why people don't trust you.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh Ba'Shem Yashai, Ba'Shem Rukwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about Esau losing trust amongst the people, right? But before we get into that, let's read this. This is Job 18:11. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. So you see, these elites, seeing the writing on the wall, right? There literally was an event, I think back in 2018, I made a video about it, where the, what is it called? The Large Hadron Collider, there was actually a message that was received from it, a few years back. And this message basically read in Hebrew, Tekel, which basically means, your kingdom's up, right? Now, ultimately, these elites, they know not only is that their time is up, right, and that the Lord is on their way back, right, but also they understand that the people of the world are waking up, right? Not only the Israelites, right, because the Negro, Latino, Native Americans waking up to who they truly are, but there's a general global awakening, right? What's happening right now is that people, through the shakeup of their lives, shakeup of the economy, with everything going on, the new generation coming of age, right? They see that there are changes coming which they don't approve of. So this is another reason why these devils, these elites at the top, which when you look into them biblically, these would be referred to as the kings of Edom, right? The kings and the nobles of the Edomite nation, right? The Edomite nation being the biblical name for the so-called Caucasian race, right? Because all this goes back to the Bible, right? Because you see, like I was saying, these elites see that there is a global shifting, a global awakening going on, which also includes the awakening of the Israelites. But just people in general are waking up to the scam that has been their world, right? They're finding out that their leaders are in fact crooks, the economy is corrupted, their politicians are powerless, right? Powerless puppets. Well, people want change, right? And these globalists, like you just heard, noted that on a recent survey that even though the elites trust each other more, right, because now they're all coming together in their new world order, that every nation that was polled said that they trust their elites less, right? And like that man said, man, he noted multiple reasons why these elites are not being trusted, right? And besides all the things he noted, man, when you look at the other things, man, the pedophilia rings that are being discovered, the Pentagon paper or the Panama Papers, the Pentagon Papers, all these things that are being released showing that these elites have a world of their own, right? And a world which they live within, which we basically help fund, okay? See, the world is getting tired of all this shit, man. And though our on large, the opinions of the average man is not televised because for the most part, media is controlled and used as propaganda by the elitists of the world to keep the rest of the world under control. What's happened is the underlying sentiment and the people are upset. This is where you see all these riots, all these uprisings. People just no longer working, right? People are opting out of the system which has left them behind a long time ago. Well, let's go and read this article and get down to what's going on. It says, this is the epitome of what's wrong with the world right now. Right? And ultimately, I just want to cut in on that. See, the epitome of what's wrong with the world is that the Edomite is in rulership right now. Like it tells you in Job 9:24 that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And that's ultimately what's going on right now, man, right? It says, just like the other scripture says, when the righteous are in rulership, the earth rejoices, but when the wicked beareth rule, the earth mourneth. And that's ultimately what's going on right now, man. The world is mourning because these devils at the top, man, they're in rulership and they're ruling unjustly. So the article reads, it says, at Davos a few years ago, the Edelman survey showed us that the good news is that the elites across the world trust each other more and more, so we can come together and design and do beautiful things together. The bad news is that in every single country they were polling, the majority of the people trusted their elites less. So we can lead, but nobody really cared what else she said. Negari Woods, professor of global economics and governance at the University of Oxford, had this to say at a recent gathering of the ghouls held by the World Economic Forum, a forum that no one asked for, yet seems to have an incredible amount of influence over power-coordinated political policies around the world, right? And that's right, because you see, the truth is that your government, your politicians, they don't rule the world. They don't run things, right? It is these Edomites who set up these, the policies for the world, man. Because why is that? Because you see, Edom is in rulership, okay? So it doesn't matter if your president's Egyptian or so-called black or Japanese. You see, it's the World Economic Forum, which, by the way, when you look at this logo, it actually creates a 666. Because again, that's ultimately what these devils are, man. They're the literal devils that the Bible speaks of, right? They are the physical manifestation of Satan upon the earth, just as the Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, the Israelites, are the physical manifestation of God upon the earth. Well, that being said, these are the true rulers of the world, and right now they've run the world into the ground, all in the name of them getting more while you get less, right? And it says, look, this is what this guy Marty Bent wrote. He says, the World Economic Forum crew legitimately thinks they are superior beings. Their hubris is leading to their downfall, right? And that's true, right? Because what's that saying in the Bible? It says, before pride goeth before the fall, right? Paraphrasing, but that's what's happening, man. And these devils, they can't see it, right? At least from that perspective, right? They think that that the world just isn't smart enough to understand what they're trying to do. And ultimately, these guys are trying to do some wicked shit, man. Which is first and foremost to kill off you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, man, right? They have stated that they want the population of the world to be at the max 500 million, right? And that does not include you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, right? It only includes the elites, for the most part. The elites with their robotic and automated world system that's going to run it, man. So when you see those futuristic movies where everything's all utopia and hardly anybody's driving and everything looks futuristic, but there's hardly any people around, that's Esau's wet fucking dream, okay? So let's continue. It says, we will rid ourselves of these kleptocrats, psychopaths, and Bitcoin will be a driving force. The world will be a much better place because of it, right? See, Marty doesn't understand that Bitcoin is ultimately a tool of these devils to bring in the cashless new world order monetary system, right? Which ultimately will lead to the chip. The article continues, says, the World Economic Forum is responsible for the term "Build Back Better." Right? So if you ever thought Biden came up with that, man, now you understand, right, where that actually truly comes from. His masters. It says that you've probably heard from many of your local politicians over the last year. Here is the old US of A. Those in power actually attempted to pass a Build Back Better Act, taking the phrase that is being parroted ad nauseum by collectivists and anti-human zealots who care not one bit about making the world better, but pretending like they do so that they can institute laws across the world that give them more control over the non-elites who seem to be catching on to the grift. And that's exactly what's going on, man. You see, the world is realizing that these elites are not for their turn, right? Right? Not only are they waking up, but the Israelites, we're also waking up, man, right? It tells you in the Bible that, what is it, the scriptures? I found it. It's Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. Right? See, so not only do you have us Negro, Latino, Native Americans, the hopeful elect and the 1/3 who are awakening, but we're doing our own thing. Now we're not involving ourselves in this system. We're not participating in it. We're not voting in it. We're not doing anything to be part of it, man. We're totally stepping out of the system, right? Spiritually and as much as possible physically, right? And what we're doing is we're now relying on the Lord, right? In truth, right? We're following the ways of the Bible as we have been instructed to do by the Bibles, as we are the Israelites, right? And so you see, so you have us doing this, and then you have the rest of the world doing this, right? This is where you hear about the preppers, the people going their own way, right? You got that one group, what is it? Those guys who are like the anti-feminists, men going their own way, right? You have the Trumpers, right? QAnon, even though it's a stupid group. These are all groups who are basically ditching their elected leaders and doing their own thing, man, right? And all this is a symptom of the people basically trying to jump off of the train, which is basically what you would know today as the world as you know it, right? Run by these elitists who would be the conductors of this ride, man. You see, people want something different, and that's ultimately a prophecy, man, right? He tells you here, it says, this is Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? And tells you here, when you look into the word the wicked, this ultimately goes back to the word laborer, right? So you see, this is talking about these Edomites, these wicked, right? And ultimately it's talking about the elites of the Edomites, man. You see, so when these devils are about to fulfill their agenda, which is what? To bring forth the new world order, their new way of life, which ultimately is going to, we've already talked about what it entails. But as they are going towards it, right, as they are trying to initiate it, the Lord is going to throw a monkey wrench into their system. And what is that monkey wrench? Well, he's going to make people wake up to what these devils are doing, man. And he's going to make them start to turn against them, right? Let's get back to this article. It says, this is the epitome of what is wrong in the world right now. This is a class of people who consider themselves elite and also believe that the self-ordained status title gives them the free rein to make decisions for the non-elites. Their top-down decision-making in the area of monetary policy, food production, energy policy, healthcare, and transportation, among other areas, has led to the complete mayhem across the world. And that's true, right? Because you see these devils, they're trying to bring forth their new world order, and in doing so, they have destroyed the world you grew up in, okay? So if you haven't realized it, the world you grew up in no longer exists, and that's because of these Edomite elites, man, these elites in power who are bringing forth their agenda, okay? It says they are the reason for rampant inflation, an utterly unhealthy society, less reliable grids, and higher energy prices, a medical industry that pushes addictive poison and untested jabs on people, and the completely ineffective and dehumanizing TSA. They pushed all this on the world, congratulated themselves for it, and are now perplexed as to why the non-elites are growing relentless as the results of the policies that have been thrusted upon them have made their lives materially worse off, right? See, that's the truth, man. And look at this, man. This is what these Edomite devils are, man, right? I don't know what this image is for, man, but whenever you look up these, like this story here and all the pages it's posted on, this picture is accompanying with that, man. So I think this is probably one of these elites out here being fucking caught, just being a freaking pervert, man. Like these devils, these Edomites are, man, because when you get into Esau, man, when you get into what they do and all their wickedness, man, this is what they see as desirable, man, when they get, in power, man, when they have that rule, man. So you see, this is the devil that has shaken nations, man, which has ruled the world in wickedness, man. This is them. This is the fool who the world has let rule over them, man. And that ultimately is because this is the Lord who has set up the bases of men to be over us, man. It says, F these people. They are the enemies of peace, prosperity, and liberty in our modern age. They are the roadblocks that must be demolished so that us normal people can go about our lives in a more civilized fashion. Right? So let's check that out, man. So these are words of rebellion, of sedition, right? That these people are touting against these elites, right? It says, these World Economic Forum reps absolutely hate you. They believe that you are lesser beings than they are. And worse yet, they think they have complete control over everything, which to their credit, they seem to have at the moment. But make no mistake, the tides are turning and the ghouls are about to get their comeuppance. Right? You see that? So that scripture I just read, man, that the hands of the wicked shall be upon them. This is what it's talking about, man. you see a lot of people are coming up to their wits end, and they're now starting to get tired of just trying to avoid all these policies, man. People are now starting to fight back, right? And pretty soon it's going to get to the point where they're going to want blood, right? Blood and these politicians heads on pikes, right? As it tells you in the Bible. Continuing, most of the power they yield stems from the influence that they are able to brute force on the world because of their ability to print money ex nihilo and misallocate it towards their objectives. And then this is where this guy gets into Bitcoin being the salvation of the future. But like I said again, man, these devils don't realize that Bitcoin again is just another ploy to get people into the New World Order cashless money system. Even though it's a good system, right? As far as like what it's presented on face value, it ultimately is going to lead to the MOTB, right? But hey, that's just the way the system works, man. So let's see. This is James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the crieth of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, right? The Lord of the Lord of armies, right? The Lord of heaven's armies. Okay, so Yahweh, right? So basically, these devils have basically ruled in wickedness and unrighteousness, man, right? And they've, basically through fraud, they have managed to increase themselves in a way where everybody else is now, and first and foremost, us Israelites, we're in a low destroyed state, man, right? We can't even afford a place to live for the most part, man. The majority of Israelites cannot afford a decent place to live. Okay, it's just part of the way that these devils have set up the system. Continuing, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and have been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Right, and because of that, this is ultimately what's going to happen. This is a prophecy written in 2 Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courts of their actions shall stand in their power. Right? So, get ready, Akim, bro. We're about to see, in the near future, people starting to take a more aggressive stance against these so-called rulers of the world, man. With all their bringing forth their policies and their new, agendas, man, people are not falling for it, man, and they're not going along with it, man. Just on Bill Maher show the other day, you had the popular New York Times journalist, I think, or she was an op-ed writer or something. She came out and she basically just said she's done with this whole C-19 stuff, and she kind of basically brought out all the information that you normally hear from so-called conspiracy theorists, man. Right? She explains how she feels that she was duped, and a lot of her liberal friends also do, and that everybody's just tired of it, man. And that's pretty much the reason why the system, this whole changeover is going to fail, because you see, these devils have been trying to do this for 2 years, right? With the whole C-19 scare and everything. And that magic is wearing off. So you're going to see Esau, he's going to start bringing something new pretty soon, okay? And like I said, again, man, he's probably going to bring forth the MOTB, where we're seeing it in Sweden, and we're seeing it reported on here and there. So, man, these devils, they need to move fast, because, just as these articles are being released and videos like this are being made, they're seeing that they're losing their ability to control the masses. So they're going to have to bring forth, everything they got. So with all that, hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. Hopefully you found it, a bit of info that you didn't know about. But hey, man, the Lord is throwing a monkey wrench into Esau's system, and pretty soon they're going to be in major trouble. So with all that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.